back to a new video. My name is Jade Shinu and I help people reclaim back their power physically, mentally and spiritually. Now today I'm going to be talking about astral work and if you are actually an astral worker, so the 5 signs of an astral worker. So what is an astral worker? So basically this is people who actually do work in the astral realms. And when I say work, I mean people who normally go around cleansing negative energy or banishing negative entities, helping people, doing some sort of energy healing work. The first sign is basically you will wake up a lot with bruises, injuries and aches and pains. You know, you'll have something wrong with your body essentially. And this can be because when you're in the astral realm, whatever happens to you does affect the physical body at times. A lot of the time you won't see some sort of mark, but if it's quite severe, it's quite potent, you know, it was quite strong, whatever happens to you. So for example, if you're fighting some sort of entity and they hurt you quite a lot, you will probably wake up with quite a nasty bruise or you'll feel very achy. It kind of feels like you've had a gym workout. So you'll wake up feeling very sore, very achy because you've been doing so much in the astral realm. And of course, it's linked to your physical body. Your soul is always connected to your physical body. So it will have an impact on the physical body. This is why you have to be very careful what you do in the astral realms and be healthy and strong as much as possible. So you're stronger within the astral realm and can protect your physical body. Even when I was a child, I used to be covered with bruises, mainly on my legs, that I'll just wake up with, and I had no medical, you know, reason for it. Obviously, you know, ruled all of that out. And it was so bad that the teachers actually pulled me aside and thought I was getting abused at home because I was covered in bruises that much. And now and then it still happens. If I have, with me, I do a lot of fighting in the astral realm, so I'm always fighting off negative entities. So sometimes I wake up with really nasty bruises. The worst one was probably about a year ago. I had a huge one like this big on the back of my thigh. And Sam was horrified, bless him. But a lot of the time it will be like aches and pains. And that leads me to number 2 is despite being relatively healthy and you've had like hours of sleep, you'll wake up feeling exhausted. You'll be so tired. And like I said earlier, it'll feel very similar to as if you've just had a huge gym workout and the next day you feel fucked basically, so drained. So again, this depends massively on what you've done. If you're more of a cleansing type astral worker and you're not so much of a warrior archetype, you may not get this as much. You may just be doing other sort of things, other sort of energy clearing. Like my auntie, for example, she does a lot of work with like dolphins and them sort of like ocean energy entities type things. So her spirit will be doing a lot of cleaning. So all they do is they go around and they clean a lot of like negative energy and that sort of thing. So it depends what you do. But if you're more of a warrior, a fighter type astral worker, which there is quite a lot of, you'll be very drained, you'll be very tired. So bear that in mind, and this is why it's so important, like I said in my other astral projection video, that you really need to do everything you can to keep your physical body healthy and strong, because this will help avoid waking up exhausted and drained all the time. So you kind of have to work twice as hard as the normal person to keep your physical body in top-notch condition. As you can actually accumulate illnesses. So this is another trait, you know, within number 2, is you won't only just wake up sometimes feeling exhausted, is over time, if it gets too much and you're not looking after your physical body will get sick. So you can develop very random illnesses, spiritual illnesses, basically, injuries. And this is because you're not strong enough, you're too weak and you're doing too much in the astral realm. So it's very important to have that balance of looking after the physical, knowing when to rest, so it doesn't get too much. And I've done this mistake a few times. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it just happens. Sometimes, you know, bad things happen to good people and things will just get too much. The negative energy will get far too intense and you'll just get tired and you get burnt out. Just like with a normal person who works all the time at a physical job, if they're working all the time, you know, they'll mess themselves up. It destroys your health. It's very much the same thing in the spiritual realms. Number 3 is you'll have extremely vivid dreams. And I mean extremely vivid. And this is because you're not dreaming. You're actually in different dimensions, different realms. So you'll meet people that almost feel like family. You'll meet beings that are extremely real. If you are fighting negative entities, monsters, you know, demons, whatever you want to label them as, they will feel extremely real. And the things that they do to you, so the pain that they inflict on you, will feel so real. So many times I've woken up feeling that I was going to wake up in a pool of blood. It's been that severe. When things have, you know, I'll feel things biting me, scratching, you know, really gory, intense fights. And sometimes it can still continue when you're trying to wake yourself up and go back to your body if it becomes a bit too much. And many times I've had this happen and I'll think, oh my God, my hand's going to be missing. I'm going to have, like, you know, chunks missing out. Like, it's quite graphic, it's quite gory. But the pain is real. So everything you feel in the astral realm will feel as if it's real, because it kind of technically is in a way. But it's just the spirit that's getting the hits. But this is why, like I said in number 2, it will make you exhausted, because it does affect your spirit. Your soul can become exhausted, and that's what it really truly is about. So in dreams, it will be very real. And even like myself, I have to wear glasses normally in my physical body, but in my dreams I have perfect clear vision. So when you're astral projecting, things will look HD, things will look more real, weirdly, than they do when you're awake in this realm. A lot of people who astral project, you know, a lot and have a lot of lucid dreams, etc., they'll normally say that they feel more alive when they're asleep. And this is the case with me, like, because these realms feel even more real than this realm. So that's a surefire sign, is if you're having these very intense dreams and they feel almost like unrecognizable to real life. Everything will feel so real, and you'll feel everything that is done to you, good and bad, unfortunately. So another trait is, you know, to do with the dreams, they won't only feel very vivid, is you'll do a lot of things to do with banishing, cleansing, fighting, like, because that's what the main point of astral workers is about. A lot of the time is, you know, you'll be a warrior, an alchemist, you'll be doing something to rid negative energy, because there's so much negative energy and there is a spiritual warfare going on behind closed doors to those who aren't aware of the spiritual realms. So there is so much negative energy that needs cleansing right now. And the light workers, the true light workers, the witches, the warlocks, wherever you want to label, you know, us as, this is what you're doing in the astral realm. So you could be doing so much without even realizing, because a lot of the time when you wake up, you forget a lot. And in a way, this is for your own safety, because it's just too much for our little human brains to, like, comprehend and remember and take in. I remember quite a lot, but I also forget as well. And this is to help you get on with this life as well. Otherwise it can get a bit too jumbled and muddled, and it's like things start overlapping and it can drive you a bit nuts. So this is a protective mechanism. Of course, it's cool to remember some things, but at the same time you need to be grounded when you're in this body, and do things when you're in this realm. So this is why it's so exhausting, because you're kind of like, it's kind of like Avatar, that film. You're having 2 lives. So you have this secret life that no one knows about. And this is why it can be really challenging, especially if you have a typical 9-to-5 job. Because some days you'll wake up completely spent because you've been working or fighting demons all night. And of course people here don't understand that. They don't, you know, understand what you've been up to during the night. So this is why it's really important for light workers to try and break free from the matrix, so you can actually have the energy and the finances to do this work. That is very important. Because this is what true shamanism is about. This is what the true shamans would do. You know, they wouldn't do much in this realm because they were doing so much in the astral realms. Really important work that was actually needed. And number 4 is actually having a lot of anxiety and fear when you're going to sleep. And at the same time, it can be excitement. So with the anxiety and the fear is basically if you are scared and you know, or your subconscious is quite tired, your soul is quite tired, it can cause anxiety because you know what you're about to get into. Because you know as soon as you go to sleep, like you're going to go elsewhere and you're going to have to do, like you don't know what you're going to have to face. I've had this, you know, all my life. I would be terrified of the dark. I'll be terrified of nighttime as a child. Because the less developed you are within your spiritual gifts and your psychic strength, the more vulnerable you feel. So if you're at the beginning of your journey, or you haven't cultivated strength, or you're sick, so your energy, your chi is very low, it can cause a lot of anxiety because you have all these entities trying to like fuck you up basically, and you're having to fight them off and you're having to do the work. So this can be quite challenging, scary, and it can cause a lot of fear and even a phobia of going to sleep. I've had this on and off my entire life. On the flip side, it can actually cause excitement. So in times of my life when I've been on a very strong, high energy because my body was very physically strong and I had so much power and strength, I loved going to sleep. I loved going into the astral realms and facing these entities and fighting them off. I also do a lot of exorcisms in the astral realm as well. You know, it's very crazy. It's something like out of a film. But basically, this can be very exciting. This can be very fun because your soul enjoys doing the work if it hasn't got fear and it knows that it's strong enough to do so. So this is why it's vitally important, like I keep saying, to have that balance and to keep your body healthy. Otherwise it can be challenging and then it can get too much and then these entities can really drag you down and then it's just like a vicious circle and it spirals down. I've had both ends of the stick, especially last year I went through horrendous spiritual attacks that I'll do a video on, and it was the most terrified I've ever been in my life. So, but I'm getting better, I'm healing. And that was to do with a lot of ancestral past life black magic ties that I had with a certain medium who was doing a lot of negative things to me in this lifetime. So that's a whole other very complicated story. However, it caused me to have an anxiety disorder. I would hate going to sleep. I would hate going to bed because I knew, oh God, what's going to happen tonight. And it was so bad that I actually got put in A&E 3 times from spiritual attacks. So yeah, it's serious. Like, people who say that astral projection and all these spirits and demons can't hurt you are full of shit, I'm sorry to say. Because they can. It's real, because it's real, you know. Genuine astral projection, you are actually in a different dimension. It's not a dream. It's not all make-believe in your head. Like, and the consequences of what you do and who you interact with and, you know, things that go on, you know, there are true enemies, and just as there are true guides and angels who have your back and help you. So, you know, anything can happen. So you have to be very careful, and this is why you always have to stay in the light as much as possible. And people who dabble with darkness, they don't understand real darkness. Because if they had actually met real darkness, they would fucking be shit scared and they'll never touch it ever again. Because it is not to be messed with, it is not to be played with. So please don't take notice of all these baby witches on fucking TikTok and whatever, you know, hexing and playing around with black magic, because that is not, not a good idea. So always stay in the light. Know that these things are real and have dire consequences if you fuck it up. So let that be a warning. But when you are strong, when you are healthy, you know, it's very satisfying work. It's really good. You know, you do have very strong guides, you know, helping you. So this is why you have to have a very high frequency when you are in this realm, in this body, because the higher your frequency when you are in your physical body, the stronger your spirit. And this will give you the power to banish negative entities, to alchemize negative energy to positive energy, and basically do the work. Because if you're not serious, you know, your guides won't take you seriously. They won't come to you. You know, you have to prove yourself, and it's a huge commitment. So your commitment will be tested. Mine certainly has. So yeah, it's no joke. Number 5 is another, so basically the 5th sign is sometimes you'll have very strange paranormal things happening at night, especially around the witching hour, which is about 3 a.m. But for me, I would notice a lot happening between the hours of 2 to 4 a.m. And this is when the veil is at its thinnest, and this is why this happens. So basically, a funny thing that was happened to me that wasn't funny at the time is basically I would astral project without wanting to. And this is because it's kind of like your spirit guides are being like, come on, you got work, bitch. Like, you got shit to do. And you kind of don't want to do it. And this is because at the time I was ill, and sometimes guys can be very strict with you. They can be very pushy because they know that you're capable of much more than you think you are. So if you slip into like a depression or fear, like you feel like you're very pathetic and you can't do anything, but they know how strong you are. So they'll be like, no, like, this is okay for you. So yeah, if you have a lot of like strange occurrences like that, seeing shadow people, feeling things, hearing things, this can actually be a sign that you are very connected to the astral realm, and because entities follow you sometimes, good and bad. So you can have, you know, it could just be your spirit guides, you know, they're wanting you to do things, or they're coming to visit you to go with you, because a lot of the time they'll go with you when you do certain things in the astral realm. Just in case they need to have your back if it gets too much, if you're doing, you know, fighting and that sort of thing. Or it will just be negative entities or just lost souls. So with me, I do a lot of work with sending spirits up. This is why I always have orbs in my videos. Like, so many times people point out like I have orbs and with lights like flying in the background. This is because I always have spirits around me wanting help a lot of the time. So they're not just my guides. They can actually just be a lost soul. I had to do one literally yesterday. I had to send up a man that my mum actually heard screaming in her bedroom, all thing, because my mum is also very spiritual, and she has the gift of you know, being clairaudient and hearing and seeing spirits. So I had to send him up. Of course, your guides will help you do this. So it's not just doing work when you're asleep. It can be when you're sort of half asleep in meditation. So, because they're still in the astral realm, if that makes sense. So basically, I had to do a cleansing and send up the spirit during a meditation. And I just wanted to meditate. Like, it can actually be very annoying at times because you just kind of want to be grounded and live a sort of normal life. But these spirits can come to you randomly out the blue. So you may experience things like this. You just want to meditate, but then you keep getting like things pop in your head. In this situation, I kept hearing a man's name. His name was Robert. And then I just knew he was in the room. I could feel him. So then I had to go through the process, which I'll do a video on, of how to send him up. And you need your guides to do this. You can't just send them up on your own. You need to have some sort of helper guides to help their soul pass through. And also using Archangel Metatron. He's the one who does it. So basically you can, yeah, have very strange experiences. You may feel yourself levitating off the bed. I've had this happen many times. You may have to do things like, you know, sending up spirits or banishing demonic entities at night. So many strange things can happen, even just seeing visuals, you know, colours around the room, you know, the blue pearl, you know, over your third eye. This is all signs that your third eye is extremely open and you're being called to do astral work. Your guides are wanting to help, you know, get you to do work. So bear this in mind that, yeah, it is a commitment to do this, and not everyone is capable of doing this because it really takes a lot of inner strength and maturity and willpower essentially as well, because it is not always fun and games. It's quite scary at times. And However, it's needed, and this is what a lot of light workers, especially witches, especially women, are being called to do, because you are very much connected to the spirit realm, more so than men. But of course men do this work as well, but just in general, women are normally more connected to the spirit realms. This is why we love horror films and paranormal shit, because it's naturally who we are. So I hope you liked this video. If you have any questions or want to share your astral experiences, please comment down below, because I love reading through them. If you want to have services done that I provide, please visit thegoddesscoven.net. I provide one-to-one oracle card readings, where I do a pretty big card spread, about 50 cards, where I look at your life purpose, career, love life, you know, whatever you need to be looking at, basically. I also have a free third eye detox ebook, so you can download that completely for free, and also a chakra cleanse ebook. So I'll link that all in the description box down below, so please click that link. And until next time, my loves, lots of love, lots of light. Ahimsa.